Hello and welcome to Fergie's Gum. My name is Nathan and I'm joined by my good friend Ahmad.
Hi Nathan, how are you?
I'm good. We're smiling. We're happy. There's a reason for that. We are on the back of beating City. I said 2-1, but I did say 2-1 to Man City on the last podcast. But no, it went the other way. And
yeah.
I'm gonna preface this with the very real fact that, as you well know, the game, I watched the first 45 minutes and then unbelievably fell asleep at halftime, waking up 3 hours later or 2 hours later or whatever it was to see that Manchester United had done the impossible and beat Man City in their own playground, which was very, very satisfying to see at midnight.
I'm sure it was.
That first half, though, was bad, right? Like from both sides, it was bad for both.
I wouldn't say it was bad from United's point of view, to be honest, because like we did what we were capable of, and we defended well. We kept possession of the ball well. So I think the players went out and did what was asked of them by the manager. And I think the goal we conceded was just unfortunate.
Yeah, it was definitely unfortunate. I'm not saying that we did anything particularly wrong, but in terms of the flowing football that we were supposed to be getting from Amorim, once we got to that final third, and it happens more often than not at the moment, we seem to stutter a little bit, and we fall back on the old principles of, right, okay, ran down a cul-de-sac, play it back, and then start again. When in actual fact, Man City was so bad yesterday. I thought they were so passive. Like they really, really looked like a shell of the team that we've watched over the last 5-6 years. They were there to be got at. So when I went to sleep, so obviously this is a game of two halves, clearly. But when I went to sleep, it was turgid. It was, how are we ever going to beat them if we don't take a chance, going forward? As you say, we looked nice at the back, didn't look really in any trouble at all. Mazraoui had Doku in his pocket. I thought the centre-backs did a really good job with Haaland nullifying his threat. And it looked okay, but going forward, it was the same old thing again. Dahol getting into an amazing position and just the non-existent left foot coming into play and not being able to play it across. It just cost us a few times, I think. However, I can't complain really because we have just taken 3 points from the Etihad. So what was the second half like?
It was more of the same. So basically we were defending. I wouldn't say it was a low block, but we were just, of course, not a high line. And we dealt with Haaland. I think the formation they put out, they probably put out all their attacking players except for Grealish. Foden was there, De Bruyne was there, Doku was there, Haaland was there, Gundogan. So they thought they would. When you look at the formation before the game, you would think that it was they were gonna keep getting shots off, they were gonna dominate everything, and we were gonna struggle. But that wasn't the case. As you said, the centre backs played really well. Maguire was amazing, and the midfield, Ugarte in particular, he was amazing. I think definitely that was his best game. I feel I haven't watched a midfielder play in a United team away to a big team like that in a long time, because in possession he was good, he was composed, and he cut out a lot of balls, and he was aggressive, he was so it's everything you would look for in a midfielder. And then attacking, we still seem to lack a bit going forward. We didn't create too many chances, but we created a few. I would say that I am seeing improvements in the patterns going forward. I think Amorim touched on this multiple times, that he hasn't had time to train with the players in relation to what they should be doing when they get to those positions. But I think we're seeing like small improvements, building block by block, and we got the win, which was the most important thing.
I think going back to Ugarte, he's really grown into that role in the last few weeks. I know we tend to give him a little mention every single episode now, which shows his growing influence on that midfield. And he might have even had an assist if it wasn't for Ahmad, like, just basically smashing it wide, I think. He had it
was offside
in the first half. Yeah. But he had that opportunity, and it feels like he's playing with far more confidence now. Like you're saying, it's not just the water carrying aspect where he's breaking up attacks. He's also finding himself in positions where he can give and go, and where he can, unleash one of the wing backs, or just keep possession and stay cool with it as well, which I think we've lacked for the last 10 years. I think we're slowly but surely improving that aspect of our game. But obviously the star of the show was Ahmad, with his tenacity, and he's really taken his chance. I'm glad. At 22 years old, he should be playing regularly, and he's taken his opportunity. And just every single game now, he's the one player, probably him and Mazraoui. Ahmad is the one player that shows what this potential Amorim era consists of. It consists of busting a gut, getting down that line, busting a gut to get back, always looking to create a little bit of a press. No matter where they are on the pitch, he wants that ball. He wants to get after it straight away, He's like a little happy dog just chasing after a ball all the time. Him and Ugarte and Mazraoui on the other side as well. And it's great to see. And when you think about what happened, we'll talk about this later, but when you think about what happened with Rashford and Garnacho, Ahmad should be the template for those guys to follow. If you want to sulk, then by all means go somewhere else and do it. Don't do it at Old Trafford on £375 a week, or £120 grand a week in Garnacho's case. But follow that template. Ahmad has had to be patient. He's had to go out on loan. He's had to stay there at teams where he did well because he was playing regularly at Sunderland, for example. And then you've got Rashford and Garnacho. They need to follow this. They need to do the same thing. And he just chases everything, and that's why he caused so many problems yesterday. Núñez, not entirely sure what the hell he was thinking coming across him like that. But it felt like Ahmad had that sense of he's gonna commit. He's gonna panic. He had that that foresight to think, I'm just gonna wait and it will come. And even for the goal, the composure that he showed after lifting it over Ederson, not slashing at it, and not like inside netting. Oh my God, I've got an opportunity to score. It was composure again, level-headed, played it across. Vardio tried to do some weird back heel, which if he was playing with him in five-a-side, you'd be like, just go and have a rest, mate. Go and sit off the pitch. What the hell is that? But Ahmad was the star of the show again. And I love to see it. Love to see it.
As we said, we're going to touch on Rashford and Garnacho in a minute. But I think the situation for Ahmad is different, because if he were to sulk, which he didn't, but if he were to, he would have every right to, because I think last season, but at the end of last season, he was playing, he had like a consistent run of games, and he was actually doing well, scoring goals, assisting, and you can see like he can actually do something, especially when the team was not doing well. At the beginning of this season, it was the same. And then suddenly he gets dropped for whatever reason under Ten Hag for a while. And he brings him on in certain games for like the final 1 minute or 2 minutes. So, if he were to be like sulking, as you're saying, then I would get it, because he doesn't deserve to. Rashford and Garnacho, it's a different case because they've always been playing, even when they're not doing well. But he's doing really well. He's impressing me. I've always felt that he has this something, something special. ever since he came. Yeah, you can always see it in a player. But yeah, no, he's been brilliant. Last night he was amazing. Everything good that we were doing, it was coming through him. You can say that for a lot of our games recently. And yeah, I hope like this game would be the game that would actually push him to that next level. So let's see. Yeah, like I'm excited to see what he's gonna do.
We've got a really tricky run of fixtures coming up as well, and on paper, the Man City game away was probably the most difficult of those challenges. I know we've got Spurs midweek in the Cup, which we'll also talk about later. But to get that first win out of this tricky packed period over Christmas, to get that win, I mean, it's going to mean a lot to those players. You saw the way that they were all celebrating with Ahmad when he scored that goal. There's a fantastic picture of like all the substitutes have basically dived onto the pitch. Casemiro's got his arms wrapped around him. They're just all they love the fact that he has bagged that goal. And he also said as well, like it showed that there is a togetherness with these players and that they are desperate to win. And again, I know we keep kind of alluding to this, that we're going to talk about the Garnacho or Rashford situation, but from the reports that are out there, you know, are they happy that that's happened? Are they happy that they've won, or are they still throwing a strop about the fact that they've, you know, weren't able to play at the weekend? I don't know. It's a weird one. But getting that victory and beating City in their own yard is definitely a yardstick that we should be measuring the rest of our season with, because we can do it. We just we have to press. We have to trust in Amorim's philosophy and the way that we want to do things, because when he stood on the sideline in the technical area, especially in the first half, and he's like, get forward, what are you doing? Like, he's pushing them forward, he's getting frustrated when they're coming back. And people are saying, I spoke to one of my friends today, and he said maybe it looked a little bit like he was feeling the stress of the job. And I'm like, no, that's the passion that we've been lacking in that tactical area. Or technical area, sorry, that Ten Hag never did. Are you going to run through the wall for someone who is like, you know, passionately telling you what to do, arm around the shoulder, you know, he's on the sideline, he's willing the ball into the net, he's kicking every shot, he's heading every ball, like, or someone that stood there looking like they're about to get fired, like Ten Hag was for a majority of, you know, the last 6 months that he was in charge. And I think Amorim has that inspirational streak about him that, dare I say, Guardiola had with City. I'm not sure what's going to happen with them. I'm very happy that they haven't won a lot of games recently. I'm very happy that we beat them. One of the lasting moments of that entire game was when they went 1-0 up, and there was a camera that kind of caught him, Guardiola, and he was very happy. And he waved to the camera, and the commentators were going, "Oh, you know, he's loving it. He always knows when the camera's on him." And it's like, okay. And then in the press conference afterwards, he's like, "Yeah, I'm the manager. I'm the coach. I'm not good enough." It's like, okay.
Finish it.
That's what we like. That's what we like.
Yeah.
Delicious.
No, I don't think the pressure of the job is getting to Amorim at all.
Nah.
I think he's seeing things that he wouldn't have known with each passing game or each passing day as well. Like at the club, he's seeing things that are wrong with the club that he needs to change. And there are like many of these things. But actually, I read somewhere that if you remember, like when Klopp first went to Liverpool, I think the first 3 games they also like drew and lost. It wasn't going really well, and then they went to Chelsea away, I think they were champions at that time, and Liverpool grabbed the win 2-1 as well, and that was when everyone, like all Liverpool fans, were like, okay, he's the guy. He is the guy that we can depend on. That he's gonna take us somewhere. And I really hope that this game was the same for Amorim. Because you need those kinds of games. You need them. You need, even if it's early in the process, You need these kind of wins for the players to believe more, which is what Amorim kept on repeating even after the Arsenal game. He said that we played well, but whenever we got to those forward positions, we didn't have enough belief to create something. And he said last night that was the difference, that the players actually started to believe. So yeah, you can tell that the players are always hesitant. I don't know, maybe they're traumatized from all the things that were happening for the past 2 years. But now maybe like you need those kinds of games to I don't know, just start having more confidence, more belief, which is basically like 90% of actually doing well. So let's see. I really hope so.
They need a run of games now where they go on maybe it doesn't even have to be a win streak, just not getting beat for like the next 3, 4, 5 games, this entire period, the winter period, going on a run really helps with the consistency and the confidence of the team as well. Because there's no point winning that game 2-1 narrowly and then getting beat by Spurs, getting lumped by them 5-0. It just brings you straight back down to earth again. So hopefully we will see a bit of a run from this team now. I know we've obviously talked about the positives of the game. Sure, there's the negative in Mason Mount, who's obviously got another injury, which is unfortunate. He's riddled with injuries, it seems, at the moment. But it seems like if you're ever going to rely on players to give you a tighter challenge, to help you win competitions that you're in, you cannot rely on people that are so injury prone like that. And while I'm not ready to just throw him under the bus just yet, the likes of him and Shaw, there must be question marks over their heads right now with regards to, are they going to be an integral part of this Amorim era moving forwards, right?
Yeah. I felt bad for him, to be honest. I felt bad for him because, I think he's been playing for the past 4 or 5 games, coming on, starting, coming off. I think I read a stat somewhere last night that he hasn't completed 90 minutes ever since his last season at Chelsea, which is, and that wasn't it was early in that season as well. So it's been 3 years since he finished 90 minutes. So it's unfortunate. I hope it's something serious. I hope it's just precaution. Maybe it's in his head more than it's an actual physical injury. Maybe he's just afraid that whatever he felt was something serious, but it's not. But like you said, he needs to prove that he can stay fit. So far, he hasn't done that. But he needs a run of games, 2 or 3 months without any injuries for him to start feeling more confident in himself. And yeah, we haven't seen that yet. Well, if he stays injury free, then he is one of those players that can actually help the team a lot, which I always say. But and maybe it was for the best last night that he went off, because I think when Maino came on, he did really well as well. I was very impressed. I don't know. It's unfortunate.
Yeah, it is unfortunate. Right, moving on, we're going to talk about the thing that we've been alluding to for the last 20 minutes. Rashford and Garnacho being dropped from the squad altogether. Okay, so there was a dark cloud that hung over the game even before it had kicked off yesterday, with Rashford and Garnacho dropped from the squad completely, not even on the bench. And there's a couple of rumours that were floating around, if you're to believe the internet. They both trained at Carrington on Sunday morning, which is completely unheard of. And Amorim was there as well to oversee it, which is unusual. But the 2 rumours that were circulating, the first one was about the fact that someone had leaked the exact team sheet or team news from Sunday's game. They leaked it on Saturday to one of the Man United accounts. And I believe that the person that did it was a player from the dressing room. Everyone had pointed fingers at Garnacho, or saying it was Garnacho's brother at first for leaking the information. And then someone pointed out that the timeline couldn't have been Garnacho and it must have been Rashford. I don't know how they worked this out. Again, rumour, again, unsubstantiated. We don't know. The other one, which seems far more likely, and Amorim even talked about it in the post-match press conference, is that they seem to be just moping around. They don't seem to be interested, and they haven't applied themselves in training. And that seems to be the big thing. He said, I watched what they eat, how they train, how they dress, how they arrive to training, blah, blah, blah. I'm paraphrasing. I don't think he said blah, blah, blah. Would have been fairly unprofessional. And then, he without saying things, he said a lot of things, right? You got to read between the lines, and he's basically saying, I'm not happy with the way that Garnacho and Rashford have been accounted recently. And I think that's probably the more likely one. Whether one of those two leaked the team sheet, I don't know. I don't care. City still didn't win anyway. But it just feels like these two, in isolation, something's not quite right with either of them, right?
Yeah. In regards to the leaks, I think the team has been getting leaked for a long while now, which is weird. I think we're the only club that have that. I don't know why. I don't know who does that. But like you said, it doesn't really matter because I'm sure the opposition would be preparing for different scenarios, but it would break the trust in the team. And I'm not sure who does it. I've heard rumors that it was Garnacho or Garnacho's brother. But I don't know. You can't say for sure because we never know. It could be Rashford as well. You never know. Another rumor that I've actually read is that they were out on Friday night or Saturday night. I'm not sure, but they were out and they were out late. I look, and people who were saying that, they were saying that the news is going to come out maybe today or tomorrow that everyone's going to know about this. And if that's the case, yeah, I'm not sure. Like it's all, like I say, it's hearsay. But I mean, in Rashford's case, it wouldn't be the first time. We've seen that before. Garnacho, I've never he's never done anything like that before. I don't know if it's true. But I wouldn't be surprised. And if that's the case, then it is a disciplinary issue. That's why they were dropped, regardless of what Amorim was saying in his press conference. And yeah, it's just a mess. It's a mess. And thank God we won because this actually, now no one can say anything. But if we lost, everyone was going to be, if they were there, they could have done something. Rashford always plays well against City. Garnacho always plays well against City. So I think we avoided a huge mess with the win last night. But even without us knowing what happened, actually, you can tell from the way they've been playing for the past games that they're not, like you say, they're not in the right headspace. Something's off. I don't know if this stuff is gonna change anything, but it should. Otherwise, they won't have a place on the team.
I think it was a right step from Amorim. If he's not happy with his players, I think it sends out a really strong message to the rest of the squad that if you're not training well, then you don't get to play. And I think there's a quote going around. I think Fabrizio Romano posted it on Instagram earlier, where he was saying that it's a new week and new possibilities for all the players. They didn't play. Rashford and Garnacho didn't play, but we would love to have them back in the team. So he's holding out the olive branch, but it's like, this is on my terms. You guys need to buck up and actually remember that you play for Manchester United and what privilege it is to do that. I think it's been lost for these two players that are graduates, youth graduates, come through the system, living the dream of many a fan, and you know, many kids aspire to be like them, living in Manchester, growing up around that area, potentially making it to play for Manchester United one day. And they seem to just be, I don't know if they're being advised wrong, because they're still young men at the end of the day. But I don't know if they're being advised wrong or what it is, but it wasn't that long ago that Garnacho didn't celebrate a goal because the fans were on his back, which is, I mean, that's some wet wipe behaviour to be doing stuff like that. There's millions of fans, millions of billions of fans around the world. Probably one of the most supported clubs. In fact, I think they are. Manchester United are the number one supported club around the world. Someone's going to dislike you, mate. Someone is, definitely. And if you're upset because one person said something to you, it's only going to get harder from there. Rashford, as you say, nothing looks like it's coming off for him, but it looks like he's not applying himself 100% anyway in those situations, you know? He's not busting a gut to get back. Neither of them have been recently. And it's one of the reasons why they've been making cameo appearances. So if they did think, oh, we're going to go out on Friday, I know I'm not playing, I know I'm going to be on the bench, and they did do that, you know, what a disgrace. And I think we don't need players like that around the club. We definitely don't need players like that around the club, regardless of whether they're homegrown talents, regardless of whether they've come from other clubs, other countries, whatever it is. A bad smell is a bad smell, and you don't want that in a changing room where you're trying to create unity. So it's a depressing situation. Depressing.
But I don't want us or fans in general to be too harsh or unfair on Garnacho specifically, because he's still young, to be honest. He's still 20, and he's done well. Even this season, I think he's our top scorer. Granted, he's not been doing that well recently. But even when he did play, he does run. Honestly, he does run. I can't say the same for Rashford. Rashford is a whole different case. For Garnacho, I'm not sure what it is, but it seems like his confidence is down, and he's not doing the things that we saw him doing when he first burst into the scene. So I don't know what it is with Garnacho, what's going on, but I think he definitely deserves a chance. Rashford, I think he's using up all of his strikes, and it's risky. I think maybe he knows he's gonna leave. Maybe he wants to leave. But whenever he's playing, he's not proving that he should actually stay in the team. And of course, whatever led to him jumping out of the squad completely does not help his case at all.
Did you read the James Ducker article about Rashford recently? The one that said that he was up for sale along with all of other players. Did you read it?
I'm not sure.
He essentially said that Rashford was like an 18-year-old that just won't listen to anyone, and it's got worse and worse where they just can't get through to him anymore. He's just he's doing what he wants to do. He is what he is. And I know we mentioned this before, and I'll say this about Garnacho as well. If you don't want to play for Manchester United and you don't want to put the graft in, and you want to do the things that are going to have him dropped from the team, or not do the things that are going to get you included in the team, like training hard and turning up on time, then so be it. Go and do that somewhere else. But I'm telling you now, it's downhill from Manchester United. When you leave, it's downhill. Because there was even linked with Rashford going to the SPL, the Saudi League, because they're the only ones that can afford his salary. Good luck. If you want to do that, go get the bag, because that'll do all there. They'll sort you out. But it's downhill. Quality of football goes downhill once you leave Manchester United. And if you're not excited about being part of this new era at Manchester United, again, we'll find you another club. Ratcliffe will not, say what you will about him, he will not tolerate anyone that is just going to fritter away money. He got rid of the cashiers and people like that because he thought they were on too much money. what's he going to do with Rashford on 375 grand a week if he doesn't want to turn up? So one of the unsung heroes of the Manchester City defeat or win, is Harry Maguire, back from exile into the first team yesterday, when many thought it was going to be Lenny Yoro playing at the third centre back role, but he managed to come in there, and he's played a few games off the subs recently as well, hasn't he, Maguire? And it looks solid. It looks solid. It looks like he isn't a total lost cause after all. And I think that shows what a model professional he is. I know a lot of fans got on his back. We probably did too at certain times over the last few seasons, but he's been absolutely caned by a lot of fans recently and in the last couple of years. And to come into that game against City yesterday, I don't really think he put a foot wrong.
No, he was amazing. Maguire is one of those players that, like, all fans had to learn to respect him over the years, because what he's been through. Because we tend to forget the first season he came in, he was brilliant for the team, and the second season where we finished second and we reached the Europa League final. I think he was injured for that Europa League final, which is why we struggled, because he was actually one of the most important players we had. He was brilliant. When we went on that run of unbeaten away games, he was integral to that. So people tend to forget, because, again, like when Cristiano came in, I don't know, like how the whole captaincy thing, and I don't know what happened. It affected him, obviously. His performance levels dropped, his confidence dropped, and but he got a lot of stick. And I don't know, it was just ridiculous at times. But he stayed, he fought for his place. And now I actually think in this system, I think he's ideal for that center back role, because he doesn't need to do a lot of running, and he wins like any long ball, he's the one to win it. We saw yesterday, he put Haaland in his pocket, literally. He literally dominated the game. So I was very happy to see that.
It'd be interesting to see if that does happen, because obviously Yoro is chomping at the bit. We're being very careful and cautious with him, because he's going to be, the next decade could be our starting centre back, and alongside De Ligt and possibly Martinez as well. My only concern I don't disagree with you, by the way. I think Maguire has earned his spot at centre back. My only concern is if you put him at that central spot, it means moving De Ligt out to the right hand side, which he's not the most mobile. And I think if we're playing compact, it's fine. But as soon as we try to press down the pitch with the centre backs as well, Maguire can do it. But De Ligt, I don't think you can afford to have a lack of pace in both De Ligt and Maguire on the counter-attack. And even Martinez, he's not the quickest of players. So it is a bit of a danger. But in terms of the way that we were set up yesterday, it makes perfect sense to start him in that central role. And Yoro can just fight for his place to get in. He's still young, He shouldn't be thinking that he's going to get the starting burst straight away. So it's good to have that competition for places more than anything. But with the Maguire thing then, like, are there any other kind of fringe players that seem to be lost causes at the start of this season that have maybe played their way back into your affections?
Yeah. Maybe it's based on a very small sample size, but Anthony has impressed me every time. Yeah, you didn't see that coming, right?
Right.
No,
okay.
No,
shock to the system.
No, I have to give him credit where it's due, because that right wing back role, he's been coming on for the past few games, and for example against Victoria Pilsen, we were struggling. He came on, he provided something different. Last night, he actually did change the dynamic of the team. attacking wise. I think I've said this. I think from since the very first times we were talking about Amorim when he first came in, we kept on mentioning that the right wing back has to be left-footed. It's for the attack to be actually functional. The right wing back has to be left-footed so that you can create better angles, more chances. So it makes more sense. Mazraoui is amazing, but attacking wise he did well. But you can see that he is a little bit limited in attacking on his right foot. It's easier for the opposition team to just close down the lane and it's not as easy to build up. But when Antony is coming on, even last night with Ahmad, they had this small partnership, these 1-2s, small between the line passes, which creates things. This is literally how you create chances, because you need those when a team is defending. You need those unexpected passes to break down the defense. I think Antony has that in his locker. We've seen he can actually defend. He's an okay defender. So maybe it is the way going forward. Maybe he will settle into that right wing back role. Maybe he does have a place on the team after all. You never know.
I think one of the main plus points about Antony is that he has everything to prove right now. So when we're talking about players that aren't quite doing it in training and, they're not happy to sit on the bench, potentially, we don't know if this is true of Garnacho or Rashford. But when you've got someone that needs to prove a point, like Antony, you're right. They go out there and they bust a gut for as long as you need them to and do the necessary things. He's not tired coming on in the 78th minute. He can keep running up and down for as long as you need him to. So I think you're right. It's not as shocking as maybe we thought it would be, because I guess Antony's just become this kind of a dead horse that we just flog all the time, and it's become a bit of a joke, a bit of a running joke. And I mean, we even named him as one of the worst signings, or the worst signing of the Ten Hag in last episode, which I still stand by. He's still yet to prove himself, but under a new system, new manager, it could transform his fortunes. The one player that I was going to say that's kind of played himself back in is Casemiro for me. I was going to say that he's won the lot. He's won everything. He doesn't really need to play for his position as much as Antony does. He knows he's coming to the end of his career. He knows he's not going to play every game. But I still think he's a very useful role player in that squad. And I think while Amorim still hasn't got the final two that he wants to play in those two central spots, I think Casemiro being there just helps to keep the other players on their toes. If they're not performing in training, if they're not performing in one match, right, okay, Casemiro's in this game. Ugarte didn't play very well, right, okay, Mainu, Casemiro. Mainu, you didn't play very well, Casemiro's back in with Ugarte. You can bring Bruno back and play him in that position as well. But even, what was the game? Was it the Pilsen game, or there was a game that he played recently and he looked good. He didn't look like he was going to be able to outsprint anyone, but he looked tidy on the ball, I thought. I think it was the last game that we played at home. Maybe Everton. Was it Everton? Possibly.
I'm not sure. Maybe he played Everton, I'm not sure. But he did play well in the Pilsen game. I agree. Like you say, he does have a role to play in this team. You need players like him around. Even if he's not starting, he doesn't have any negative impact on the team. We saw last night he was probably the most passionate one celebrating with Ahmad after his winner. And when he is playing, he's doing really well. And I think you can use him, and even like if we had to, you can use him in one of those three central back positions. We've seen him play central back last season, but it was in a 2. That's why he was struggling. If you play him in a 3 with more like protection and cover, then he could do well. He has all the attributes. He has experience. For example, I'm pretty sure he's going to start on Thursday, and I feel he's going to do well. So there's nothing wrong with having players like that in your team. The only downside is is, I wouldn't say his age, because it's okay, it's fine having like older players in the team, but it's his salary. Like he's on too much money. I don't think it would make sense to, for example, keep him on. If an offer comes in for him, then you would sell him, because it just doesn't make sense from like the financial aspect. But other than that, I think he is doing really well, and he's been doing really well ever since the Liverpool game, where he had that like terrible game. Ever since, he's been doing really well every time he plays.
Okay, next up for Manchester United is Tottenham Hotspur at the London Stadium in the League Cup, right? Is it League Cup or FA Cup?
League Cup quarter-final.
League Cup. Thursday, midnight, which is essentially Friday for us. I will not be staying up for that game. You will, I imagine.
I hope so.
For at least,
Yeah, I'll try.
At least 45 minutes. I'll watch the extended highlights in the morning. But there's competition for places now. And it'd be interesting to see how Amorim approaches this game, because I think he's won quite a few cups when he was in the Portuguese league. And is he going to see this as an opportunity to get back into Europe if it's not going to happen through the league? Or is he going to try and use his fringe players to try and get through? Like we talked about before, like with Casemiro's probably bound to start, right? And then we've got maybe could Maguire play 2 games in a row? I imagine Lenny Yoro will probably play in his place.
Yeah.
But do you think he'll go for it? Do you think he should go for it with the League Cup?
Yeah, for sure. Why not? I mean, like it's a competition that if you were to win it, you would win it in February, and it would give you a boost for the rest of the season. And especially for a manager who's in for his first season, then it's not the most important of competitions. It's not something like you would be devastated if we went out of. But there's nothing wrong with trying. I think we have a chance. Like if we win on Thursday, then we're into the semifinals already. I think City are out of the cup. Spurs would be out of the cup. I think just Arsenal and Liverpool are still there. But
and Chelsea? Are Chelsea in it? No?
I think Chelsea lost as well. I'm not sure. I don't think so.
Okay. It shows how much of a focus we have on the League Cup. Yeah, we don't even know he's still in it. Hopefully, Amorim's got a closer eye on it than we have. So, who do you think is going to play up front in this game? I think he's probably going to start with Xerxes in this game. Yeah,
Xerxes. I think one of Rashford or Garnacho are going to come back in. Maybe both. You never know. So I think it could be Xerxes, Rashford, Garnacho, Casemiro, Bruno again, or Kobe. I don't know. Maybe he would give Bruno a rest. Ahmad definitely would get a rest. Ugarte would get a rest. Mazraoui, maybe he got a knock last night, so I think he's not going to play. So I think Maguire wouldn't start, because last night was his first 90 minutes in like 3 months or something. Yeah. De Ligt came off, so I would imagine he would start tomorrow on Thursday. Lenny Yoro definitely. But the thing is, like, I don't know who comes in place of Lisandro. Maybe Johnny Evans, to be honest. But Lisandro needs a rest. We need to keep the players fresh.
It'll be the Iceman, won't it? It'll be Victor Lindelof.
I hope not.
Did he play yesterday? Did he play any part yesterday?
He came on. He came on when we scored the second goal, just to play a block of 6 on defense. Yeah. So he did come on. But I think he just came back from injury. I wouldn't trust him in that game. So,
Apparently Evans wasn't injured, by the way, yesterday. He wasn't carrying any injury. He was just, left out. So I think if you look to the bench, you could probably make from yesterday's game against City, you could probably make a good idea of what players will be making that starting lineup against Spurs. I think it's going to be, it could be quite a tough game. Amorim's has he already had a look at Spurs? Or was that Ten Hag that played Spurs? It was Ten Hag, wasn't it?
It was Ten Hag.
Yeah. Okay. But I mean, Ange doesn't tend to change his formation or his tactics. So I wonder if Amorim can come up with something a bit different this time, because I think we were outmuscled pretty convincingly against them last time. And was Bruno sent off? Was that the game Bruno was sent off?
It was. Yeah. But I think with Spurs, it's weird because like they beat City 4-0 and then they went on to lose to Ipswich the following game. Last night they won 5-0 against Southampton, which is not that impressive because, I don't know, Southampton are probably one of the worst teams to be in the league for a long, long time. They're disaster.
They sacked their manager. They sacked their manager straight after the game as well, Russell Martin.
Did they?
Yeah, he got fired. And yeah, Gary O'Neill went as well from Wolves after getting beat by Ipswich.
I don't see Russell Martin getting sacked. He deserves a sack, to be honest, because I don't know what they're doing. It's not. I don't know. Like it's ridiculous.
The only thing that I've seen about with Russell Martin, sorry to go off on a tangent here, is he was talking about Tyler Diblin. Is that his name?
Yeah.
And saying that United had offered 20 million for him, and he's like, that wouldn't even buy his left leg. It's like, yeah, okay, all right, sure. Money talks, and when you're relegated, that 20 million suddenly starts to look pretty attractive. Yeah. So he's another player that I can see going to United next season, by the way.
Yeah, he's
very good. Yeah, terrible. Playing in a terrible team, but he actually looks decent. Score predictions then for Spurs. What do you think?
I think we could win, to be honest. Especially like, I hope so. I hope if we win like City away and then Spurs away, then it would give us a major boost. Yeah, I'd say 2-0 United. We could keep a clean sheet. We were defending really well. The only goals that we were conceding are from set pieces, and Spurs aren't that good from set pieces. So yeah, 2-0.
I'm going to go, I think it's going to be 3-1 to United.
Okay.
That's what I'm going to go with. And I think it's an opportunity for those three players that you mentioned at the beginning, Rashford, Garnacho and Xerxes. I think it's time for them to put on a show as well and to really stake a claim for the starting berth in the league, because right now they're considered as second choice. All three of those are considered as second choice. So if they really want it, this is the game to do it in. And a 3-1 win with one of them scoring at least 1 or 2 goals, I think that cements them for the weekend, maybe. Okay, there we go then. Another Fergie's Gun podcast over and done with. Thanks for listening as always. Do remember to check us out on Blue Sky, which if you just type Fergie's Gun in there, we definitely do show up. And we are also on YouTube if you want to watch us instead of just listening to us in future. Again, Fergie's Gun podcast, and you will find us on there. We'll speak to you again after the Spurs game, hopefully celebrating another famous victory. So thanks again and goodbye.